Hey guys, I wanted to come and share with you today about something that I know a lot of people struggle with. It's something that have struggled with most of my adult life, and just a little over 2 years ago, finally started, or a little less than 2 years ago, um, finally started making some changes that actually stuck and have been now something that is my regular life, and it pertains to weight loss. And I know so many of us struggle with it. It's like a constant battle, it feels like. I can tell you I've done Weight Watchers and Slim Fast and the South Beach diet and medical weight loss clinic, and I had a membership to Curves, and I mean, I've tried all these different things over the years. Nothing stuck. I might do well for a while on something, but then that would kind of crumble away. The weight would come back, sometimes plus some, and it just was a really discouraging journey. And I'm sure there are a lot of you that are watching this that feel the same way. And it's like you feel like you hear the same things all the time of, well, you need to eat right and exercise. You need to eat right and exercise. You need to lower your calorie intake and exercise. That sounds all fine and good, but there needs to be a practical application to that makes it something that you actually fall into doing, that becomes your norm and isn't hard for you. You know what I'm saying? Like things that are super hard, and sometimes you have to start out and it's going to be hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not do it's not like I'm coming on here to tell you, oh, I have the easiest way in the world to lose weight. It doesn't take, any effort from you. No, that's crap. That doesn't work. And anything that tries to promote something that's so easy, I can tell you right now, you're going to fail at, because it's just not reality. But what I did do are things that I put into place that ended up becoming lifestyle changes that I could not be happier, and I will never, ever go back to where I was. So let me just start you out with a little background story. Growing up, I was never tiny. But when I look now at pictures, I'm like, oh, I was tiny, like high school and stuff. But our family all has like big thighs, big butts. That's like something that both sides of my family, that's just something that we have. So I never was like this little tiny girl, right? But I would say my best body was when I was around 19. I weighed like 130 pounds, which I am not even 5'1". So if you look at charts for where I should be, 130 pounds sounds like a lot for that frame. My body looked good. Like, I wish I had more pictures of me at that stage, because I looked good. I felt good. I looked good. It was good for my body. The way my frame, the way my body carries it, 103 pounds was awesome. So then I got pregnant when I was 20 with my first son, and I gained a lot of weight. And, well, I say a lot. I gained 40 pounds, which is a lot, but not really. I mean, a lot of people gain like that. My mom gained 60 pounds when she was pregnant with me. And so, I mean, I know people gain more, but 40 pounds is quite a bit. And the problem is I never took it off. Some of it came off after I wasn't able to breastfeed him because of issues that he had. He had no rooting reflex, so he didn't turn to things. You had to like really get him to take a bottle and stuff. But anyway, so I was unable to breastfeed, so I didn't lose calories that way, because I'm not gonna lie, in my mind I was like, oh, after I have this baby, I'm gonna breastfeed, I'm gonna lose all this weight, because I knew people that did that. Well, that wasn't my reality, so that didn't happen. And I just didn't really lose the weight. I was working midnights, and so I would come home and try to sleep a little bit before he was waking up. I would nap when he was napping. My schedule it was just all wonky, because my husband worked during the day and was still finishing up some college stuff. So I was just not in a place where I could get myself in a good routine of, meal planning and working out and things like that. I was living off of macaroni and cheese and ramen noodles because, let's be honest, my husband and I were 20 years old and living on our own with a new baby and still going to school and trying to both of us work. We had like nothing. And thank God for our parents who helped us so much. And just as far as like, being there when we needed them and things like that, like they were awesome. But we didn't have money, so I was not buying good, healthy food. It was just, and we drink tons of pop and all that junk. But anyway, so that just started my downward spiral, I guess I would say, that became the norm of my adult life. My husband and I were also pretty heavy drinkers. Not like at home during the day, but I mean like weekends and stuff. Like we drank a lot, but we might have beer and stuff during the week. So I had all the calories from that. I mean, it was just like, it wasn't good. And then 2 years later, I got pregnant with my second son, and I gained 30 when I was pregnant with him. But I still had weight on from the time before. And then I didn't lose all the weight after I had him. And then 2 years later, I got pregnant with my next son. So they're all about 3 years apart. And I gained 25 with him. But of course, I still hadn't lost all from before. So it was just like, packing on. And maybe some of you have the same story and know exactly what I mean. And the further you get from where you were, the more discouraging it is. And the harder it is to picture ever getting back. And so I actually had a lot of issues with self-esteem big time. I was super self-conscious. I was so uncomfortable in my own body. I was so embarrassed because I would get winded really easily. Trying to walk next to someone and talk to them, I would be like winded, it was horrible. I was so embarrassed and so uncomfortable. It was awful. I wore jeans in the summertime. It was just terrible. I hated it. And I finally got to a point after years of trying different things and nothing sticking, nothing working. I had enough. And so I suffer from migraines horribly. I have, they tend to be mostly hormonal. So once a month, I am out for 2 days. It's like every month. It's horrific. And, but I also have headaches. Have always had headaches all the time. Several headaches a week. Miserable, right? So somebody was telling me how, and I have to say, this girl, oh my goodness, she's the sweetest thing. She used to work at the school where my husband works, and she was really into nutrition and everything. And I remember being so irritated when she would tell you about different, nutrition stuff and whatever, okay, whatever. And now now I see she was so passionate about it because she knew what she was talking about, and she wants other people to be healthy and feel the way she feels. But for me, I wasn't in that place yet, and so I was just irritated when she would talk about it. And if you're somebody who's irritated like that, it's probably because you know that the person who's talking is right, and you should maybe listen, but it's like you're just not there yet. So, because truthfully, until your mind is actually really ready for it, you will not succeed. And that is just the truth. It's the same reason we start things and never finish them. Because, in theory, it sounds great. But if you're not actually really committed to doing it, you won't do it. And so you have to be serious about, I'm done living like this. I'm making a change. So that's what I did. She was talking about how dairy a lot of times affects people who have headaches and stuff. Migraine sufferers, a lot of times dairy is a major trigger. Well, hello, this girl loves some cheese. I don't drink milk, never have. Well, but love cheese, love cottage cheese, love yogurt, ice cream. I mean, come on. And the thought to me of cutting out dairy, because she's like, just do it for 3 weeks and see if you notice any difference, 3 weeks seemed like an eternity. I was like, oh my gosh. But finally I was like, you know what? What's worth more? Eating dairy or not having headaches? Come on, duh. And so I decided to try it. I'm like, no, I'm done living like this. I had a particularly bad migraine. And I mean, I'm talking migraines that keep me in bed for 2 days. I'm throwing up. They're horrible. So I was like, okay, I'm done with this. So I decided I'll give it 3 weeks. Well, that'll be 2 years ago in March. Let me tell you, I have never gone back to dairy. It will be 2 years in March since I have consumed any kind of dairy. And do I miss it? Honestly, I don't miss it at all. Like, not even a little bit. Cheese, I don't even care. I smell cheese and it grosses me out, to be honest. Almond milk and coconut milk products, cashew milk, good for me. I do any cooking that like calls for milk and things. I use almond milk as a substitute. Have never had an issue. It all works out fine. I don't miss it. There is this cashew milk ice cream. It's Snickerdoodle flavor by the brand So Delicious, I believe it's called. It is, oh my gosh, it's so good. Like, you wouldn't even believe. So do I miss dairy? Nope, not at all. Do I have headaches? Very rarely. That is what I'm talking about. I very rarely have a headache. I still have migraines, but not every month. And they're nothing to the severity that they used to be. I have not thrown up from a migraine in at least a year. I am able to get up out of bed and like function somewhat, not just be down and out in bed for 2 days. So, will I go back to dairy? No, I won't, because it's not worth it to me. There's nothing about it that is something that would make me go, oh, it's worth, having headaches several days a week and severe migraines all the time again. Nope, no thanks. So dairy's done. Well, just that on its own, obviously, you're going to start losing weight because of all the calories that are in dairy products. So that was the start of it. Now, I also was having thyroid issues. I knew I was, but doctors were not diagnosing me. But we'll go into that story a different day. But I had also read about gluten and dairy actually being things that can cause leaky gut in people with thyroid issues. And so I'm like, I really truly knew that something was wrong with my thyroid. And so I was like, I am going to try seeing what will happen if I cut out gluten. A funny story, but I had cut it out for like 30 days. And then I went on this youth leaders retreat because I'm a youth group leader at our church. And on the last day, we go to Buffalo Wild Wings as like a big dinner before everyone then goes home. And I decided, well, I'll just have a chicken wrap. And I won't do like crispy chicken. I'll just do grilled chicken in a wrap. Because then the only gluten is the wrap. And that's then no big deal, right? It's about to get personal right here. I ate that wrap. And as I'm sitting there, my stomach starts doing something. And I know it's not going to be good, right? Well, unfortunately, a friend of mine, I had picked her up on the way and she had ridden with me. So I still had to take her home. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I think I'm ready to go, whatever, trying to get her. So she was like, okay. So we get in the car. Well, we go out to the car and then there's like someone else standing out there that she starts talking to, and I'm just thinking, I really need to go. Like, I really need to go. So finally she gets in the car. I'm like, okay, I just got to drop her off at home and get home. She lived like 10 minutes. It would take about 15 minutes to get to her house. And then I'm like 10 minutes from there. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. But girl, I'm getting the chills. Oh my gosh. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. So I get to her house and like, oh, great, whatever. Well, she's kind of standing out there. And I mean, she's one of my good friends. Like, we always hug each other. So I'm like, okay, I got to get out and like hug her, right? So I get out and hug her. Well, then she starts talking. And so I'm talking to her and I'm like, I don't know why I didn't just say like, I like need to go, right? I don't know. Why do we do the things we do? Who the heck knows? But anyway, so she finally like walks into her house and I get in the car and I drive home. I called my husband on the way home. And I'm like, make sure the garage door is open because when I get home, I have to fly into that house. He's like, okay. And I got home. I'm busting through the door. I'm running. I come in the bathroom and I didn't make it. I was in my bathroom, but I didn't make it. So I knew then, I was like, I think gluten might not agree with me. From there on out, no gluten. So now it'll be 2 years in May since I've had gluten. So I have been gluten and dairy free for almost 2 years. Again, just by the nature of not eating those two things, you're going to lose weight because it's eliminating a lot of things from your diet. Do I miss gluten? I don't. Like, you guys, it is not that hard. The day and age we live in, and with so many people with like celiacs and stuff, there are so many gluten-free options out there that it is not hard to be gluten-free. At first it is because it's such a switch, but I'm serious, it is not. I have no problem. So those two things were the first things that kind of happened. But I wasn't ready to go from there. I'm like, okay, but that's not like losing weight. Like, I want to lose weight. So I had also that March started this program called Ideal Shape 12-Week Challenge. It is free. You do it online. Like, you can hook, I just set it up on my laptop and watched it and did it from there, but you can hook it through your TV or whatever you want to do. I will link it below in the description box because you can do it for free. There's no cost. You like use your own like hand weights. I think there's like with jump rope if you want to. I hardly ever even did the jump rope ones because they show you how to modify it, like just jumping side to side. And then like exercise ball, but I actually didn't do that either. I just modified things. So if you don't have like that, you will want some little hand weights, but most of it is your own body weight. It's just it's like light strength training and with a little bit of cardio. And the workouts are 10 to 15 minutes typically a day. So not that much time. They do it as like a 6 day a week thing. But again, that doesn't mean you have to do it that way. But I started doing that and I loved it. It was a workout that I could actually, I hate cardio. I hate crazy cardio workouts that make you feel like you're going to puke. I won't do them. I won't. I cannot stand them. I've done them in the past. I hate them. So I knew that was not something I was going to try to do because I was going to fail at it. So this was perfect though, because I want to start getting muscle tone, and along with losing weight, I wanted to tone my body, which I must say I have not been working out now for quite some time and I hate it, and I'm going to start doing that Ideal Shape workout again because my arms were getting so nice and toned and everything, and now I'm like, oh man, I got like bingo lady arms again, but no problem. I know exactly what I need to do because I know it works. But like a workout that you can actually do, like it's not going to take up your whole day. You do get sweaty, like believe it or not, in that amount of time and what you're doing, you do get pretty darn sweaty a lot of the time. There's also an extra challenge on the end of each workout, and you can, like the ones that were indoor ones I did, but if it was like outside things, I typically didn't because it depended on what the weather was like. But like the stairs ones, I would run up and down my basement stairs, that kind of stuff. So like you can modify things to make it work for you. But that started me out, like the more I did it, the better I felt, and I wanted to keep doing it. And so I had started losing weight. So from March until July, about the end of July, I had lost about 25 pounds. So in 4 months, about 25 pounds. I think that's pretty dang good. It wasn't like, weight is like flying off you like crazy, but it also shouldn't, because if it does, there's a better chance they're going to gain it back. So it was like great, rate of weight loss. I then had surgery, which, like I said, I'll get into it in a different video, but that threw off my working out. So from then on, I really didn't work out. So now that was a year this past July, and I still have not been working out regularly. But that tells you from March to July how much my body changed, like as far as toning and, just losing the weight. But also, oh gosh, but it wasn't just that. I almost missed this whole huge part of this whole thing. In May, so March I went dairy free. May, and I started doing the workouts. May, I started to go gluten-free. And then at the end of May, my husband and I had decided, my cousin's wife actually had told me about this. And she like transformed her body. And so I was like, okay, this is someone I know who has done this, and it worked so well for her. So I'm like, all right, I'll be willing to give it a try. So she told me she would let me borrow her book that she had. And it was so funny because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it from her for like a week. And I had started looking like online, reading stuff about this particular program, and was like getting so excited. I like couldn't stand that I had to wait to get this book from her. So when she dropped it off to me the one day, I was like, ah, like all excited. But anyway, what it was is the Whole30. This book, this is super dramatic sounding, but I'm not even joking a little bit. This book changed my life. It changed my husband's life. And I will tell you stories of other people that I know and love whose lives have been changed because of this. We started this the end of May that year. My husband and I did the 30 days, but we decided to go a little bit longer. So we did about 40 days that first time. We've done it, it's been 2 or 3 times since we've done it. But when we've done it since then, it's been just as like little kickstarts, or just like a little reset for our system, because that first 40 days, I think I lost 11 pounds. And I'm going to be honest, when I did it, I was like, it was all, in my mind, it was all about the weight loss. I just want to lose weight. That's what I want to do. Even though that's not what the book is even intended for. But in my mind, you know, you're reading all these testimonials of people who lost weight. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to lose this weight. Well, keep in mind, I've already not been eating dairy since March. So I've already gone 2 months without dairy, almost 3. And, like had already been not eating gluten. So I already had eliminated some of the foods that they, you know, have you eliminate. Anyway, but, so my husband and I started at the end of May. And I ended up losing 11 pounds. And he lost, I think he lost 20 or something, of course, because he was a guy, and of course they always lose more. But that wasn't, I didn't care that it was only 11 pounds, because, and 11 pounds is a good amount of weight. I don't mean that, but like, you know, it wasn't these like 30-pound weight losses that you hear people have or something. I felt so good. I felt so good not packing crap in my face all the time. I was like the craziest nutty bar girl, like Little Debbie nutty bars. Oh my gosh, those were like those and a cup of coffee was like heaven to me, okay? I haven't had a nutty bar in almost 2 years. And guess what? I'm living just fine. I'm just fine. I'm going to be very honest. I'm super irritated when people say, oh, I couldn't go without eating whatever. Yes, you can. And if you want it bad enough, you will. So like, that drives me crazy when people say that, because I'm like, no, the issue is not that you can't, it's that you won't. There's a big difference between can't and won't. So, I found where, like, when you eliminate sugar and stuff, you get where you don't want it anymore. Your body does not crave it. And it's crazy because it makes you realize the power that food has over you. That is insane. Why do we allow this inanimate object to have so much control over our lives? And we use it in ways that make us feel miserable. That sucks. Like, that makes me angry. But, so we felt so good when we got done. It was like, okay, wait a minute. Like, my husband decided after that, he's like, okay, you don't do dairy and you haven't done it for this amount of time. And I feel so good after not having it. He's like, I don't think I want dairy anymore either. So he stopped eating dairy. He occasionally has a little bit, but he actually had ice cream at our church camp this summer and was miserable. So he's like, nope, won't do that again. But also, he rarely eats anything gluten. He basically eats like I do. And we do eat a lot of vegetables. Here's how I knew. I was like, oh, I got this with the Whole30 because you can have coffee, and I drink my coffee black anyway. So you can have coffee and you can have potatoes. And potatoes are my favorite food. My favorite food. Any way you cook them, they're my favorite food. So I'm like, I can have coffee and potatoes. Are you kidding me? Like, of course I can do this. And I did. And I've kept going with, like, here's my issue now. Here's what I notice now. Things I never noticed before. So when you do Whole30, you like eliminate all grains. There are no grains, which my husband bought me a really cool book for Christmas last year, a recipe book called Against All Grain. I think her name's Danielle Walker, that is the author, but she, awesome recipes. But anyway, I have discovered when I add back grains of any kind, corn, rice, I'm okay for a little bit, and then I can start feeling myself being bloated. But the main thing I notice, my joints, like my elbows, will hurt so bad. I'm not kidding. Like to lift a cup of coffee off of the end table, I'm like almost like making noise in pain because my elbows hurt that bad. Like, it's so weird. And I know that's what it is because I've tested it out like 3 different times just to see. And that's totally what it is. It's grains. Like, my body, they cause me crazy inflammation in my joints. And for some reason, particularly my elbows seem to be affected. But so I'm like, okay, same with that. Like, all right, I know I can have a little here and there and I'm fine. But if I start consistently eating them, I start getting bloated and my elbows start to like kill me. And is it worth it to me to have some tortilla chips and rice or whatever? Nope, it's honestly not. So, like I said before, you can't or you won't, because those are 2 very different things. I totally can keep myself from eating these things that I know cause me to gain weight, to feel terrible. Like, why would I want to do that? My husband discovered things that he thought he had stomach issues, that he thought they were like a hereditary thing because his dad does. He discovered, no, he doesn't have stomach issues. It's the food he was eating and his body is like rejecting it because now he doesn't have those issues anymore. So, we're kind of trying to tell his dad too, like, I think this might actually be the problem. You don't actually have stomach issues. You are just eating things that your body is not agreeing with, and you need to discover what they are. That is what Whole30 is about. It's about eliminating these things from your diet. You go 30 days without them, and then there are 2 different ways you can add things back. But basically, you systematically add foods back by group and see how your body feels. And that's how you recognize what things your body is reacting to, what things your body does not handle well. And that's how I know grains, and I know dairy because of my headaches. And, my husband knows soy and things like that are major things for him. So that is what Whole30 is about. It creates... The reason it has changed my life is because I view food in a completely different way. I no longer think about like, ooh, what are we eating? Or I don't know, like, I don't think about food. That's not just, I just don't think about food like that. Like, I eat food because I need to eat. And do I still enjoy food? Yeah, like, I still love food, but I feel so much differently about it. I would say one of the major struggles of the way I eat now is going other places. You have to really learn what you can have, like, at restaurants and stuff. But like I said, with the way things are in this day and age with so many people with issues with gluten and things like that, it's not hard to find, things you can eat places that are gluten-free. Like, we love to go to Ruby Tuesday and get like their salad bar and burgers, and they have gluten-free buns, and like, you can find things. The hardest thing probably is when you're going to like someone's house, like a party or something like that. But even now, that's not an issue either. I ask ahead of time you know, if it's people that I'm familiar with, like my family and stuff, I find out what they're having or whatever. And then if it's something that like I can modify, like bring my own buns for, or, you know, things like that. Like, oh, you're making hamburgers. Okay, well, I'll bring a gluten-free bun, and so I can have them too. Like, you just learn to do that. You learn to bring snacks with you that you know you can have. I generally keep something in my purse that's like a snack type thing that if I'm going to be out for the day and, you know, might want something and I know it's not so easy to just grab something somewhere, I have, you know, some nuts and raisins in a baggie in my purse. That also helps you not gain weight because you're not just grabbing things on the fly all the time. You have to be intentional about your food and what you're going to eat and plan things. And I'm not some great planner, so don't think you have to be like this super organized person because I'm not. But I do try. I try because it does definitely makes things easier. But with the Whole30, you'll notice here what I have done is I put like little tabs in the places that were like some of our favorite recipes so that I could just easily like reference them and they say what they are. Like seriously, the carnitas, oh my goodness. Like I'm not even playing around. They're so dang good. And you learn to do things like use romaine lettuce in place of like a taco shell or you know what I mean? Like just simple things like that. And you actually start to get where you much more enjoy those foods. Like there are so many things that I actually this one time decided I was going to eat a sour cream and onion potato chip because I used to love those. Like I could eat a whole bag. Like I'm not talking a little bit. I'm talking like the whole one. I could sit and like eat a whole family size bag. Disgusting, but I could have. And I loved those things. So this one day I was like, I'm going to taste one. I haven't had them in forever. I'm just going to see what one tastes like. Ugh. I was so grossed out by the taste of it. I'm like, it's like really sweet and weird. Like, I hated it. I hated it. It's so strange. But you start to realize, like, food that you think tastes good, it does not taste good. Like, it's like this weird chemical made up form of food. It's not good. And it's until you are away from it long enough and like taste something again that you're like, oh gosh, like that's not how I remember that tasting. So I can honestly say with absolute sincerity, I do not miss any dairy, any gluten, whatever. Like the thing I crave sometimes is cornbread, and there are some really good gluten-free cornbread mixes, and I make them with almond milk, and they're delicious. So like I have found things that, you know, I mean, substitute for things that I used to enjoy. I will continue eating like I eat. I fully believe in what this book aims to do. Oh, and I forgot to say, there is a recipe, and I don't think it's in here, but it's for enchilada stuffed sweet potatoes. Oh my gosh. They're so good. Like, I serve them to people who are not dairy and gluten-free and who are like, these are so, what is this? Like, delicious. So don't think like dairy and gluten-free means these weird food. It does not. Like, I think I cook better now than I used to cook. Like, I think I cook more quality meals than I used to. So, a little testimony about Whole30. It's not just me and my husband who have been transformed, which, by the way, I'm going to try to insert a picture somewhere that shows you, and it might be at the end of the video. I'll have to see how I can do it. But I have lost about 40 pounds since the beginning of that journey. I had lost that 40 pounds by Christmas of last year. So I've kept it off for over a year. And you guys, I feel so good. I have not been this size since I was, well, probably almost 19. Of course, your body type changes, but I'm back to 132 pounds. I never in a million years would have dreamed that I could get back to a weight close to what I weighed when I was 19 and had like my best body. And I will never go back to what I did before. I didn't feel good. I was embarrassed. I was uncomfortable. Why would I want to live that life again? I lived that from the time I was 20 till I was whatever I was 2 years ago. We're not going to talk about that right now. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's a choice you have to make. You have to really want it. And if you really do, you will succeed. And so many people are like, oh, I really want to lose weight. I really want to lose weight. But then they fall off and they don't do it. It's because you are not really committed. So you have to, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard at first. There's nothing easy. Nothing easy is worth it. I mean, I really believe that. Like, when you work hard at something, it's that much more fulfilling when you reach, where you want to be. Am I where I want to be? No, not yet. I ideally would love to weigh 125 pounds, because to me that sounds just amazing. I can't imagine in my mind weighing 125. But more so than that, I want to really like tone my body. I want to get that muscle tone back that I was starting to get when I was working out regularly and that kind of thing. So for me, it's more that, and it's very much the health aspect. Like, just I feel so much better. I don't get out of breath so super easy and get myself in situations where I'm like embarrassed because of it. And that was so awful. I think about that sometimes, and I'm like, I could just cry for myself, because I'm like, why did you live like that for so long? But anyway, aside from my husband and I and what has happened for us. Oh, and by the way, the picture is when I had lost 30 pounds, not 40. I still have never taken an updated after picture. I'm not really sure why, but I should do that. But anyway, so keep that in mind. That was a 30-pound weight loss that's in the picture, so I'm 10 pounds less than I was in the after picture there. So a friend of mine from church had approached me and had said, I forgot to turn the light on here. Maybe it doesn't matter, but, I noticed how much weight you've lost and you look so good. And I mean, people were saying stuff to me left and right, like, what have you been doing, And so I would just point everyone to Whole30, because it was what made the major difference and changed my view on food and just my lifestyle. And I know that is the key to the longevity of something being successful. So anyway, she had asked me about it, and she started doing it, and so did her mom. Well, her mom ended up being able to not take insulin anymore. She lost weight. She just got so much healthier than she had been. So they were like raving about it. I was so thankful when she came up to me and was like, I have to tell you, what's been happening. Like, thank you so much for sharing about Whole30 with us. And then, aside from that, last year around Christmas time, my mom really wanted to do it, because same thing. She was like, seeing the success that my husband and I have had with it. And so she's like, your dad and I, we need to do something, blah, blah. So for Christmas, my sisters and I decided we would we bought my mom and dad the book, and we got this gigantic box, and my husband and I went shopping and filled it with like all the staple things that we use, like almond butter and parchment paper. If you don't cook on parchment paper, I don't know why I didn't know about it until I started doing Whole30, but the cleanup from things is like incredible. And just, just different food things that we did, like sugar-free, like spaghetti sauce that Sam's Club carries that was Whole30 compliant, and just, all these things that we had found during our journey of doing it that helped make things easier. So we filled them up and got them set. Well, they started it, and my dad, he wasn't ready yet, and he didn't commit to it. And so my mom did it. She lost a lot of weight. She was able to go off of her cholesterol medication, and her blood pressure medication was greatly reduced to the point where they're like thinking that she could go completely off of it. So that's incredible. That's what I'm talking about. That's what Whole30 is about. It's about your health. The weight loss benefits are a benefit to it. They're like a extra perk. But the main thing is your health. And naturally, as you're eating healthier, you're going to lose weight. So she did really well. So my dad decided my mom was going to do another round this past October, and my dad decided he was ready. He was done. He's, just ready to do something about it. So he started doing it and committed to it. And my dad lost 25 pounds in 30 days, because his body, like, it just makes you realize all the stuff that is there that needs to flush out, right? He felt so good that now, I am not kidding, you could ask anybody. He's like the craziest candy and ice cream person you've ever seen in your life. Like, ridiculous. I'd be like, Dad, come on. And like, if you would buy, I mean, he liked cookies and that kind of stuff too, and he'd eat them if they were there. But it was like candy, he'll eat till he's sick. And he said that. He's like, I went and bought a, bag of like the fun size candy bars, and he's like, I ate almost the whole thing like in like 2 days, and he's like, I felt so sick and just miserable, and so he knew it was like time to do something different. So he lost that weight, felt amazing. He has not since then. So October, my dad, the crazy candy eater and ice cream eater, has not touched any sugar. No sugar. He like refuses to touch it. He like won't eat hardly any like bread type stuff. Like, it's very once in a while. So like, I like to bring stuff for him that are things that like I eat as alternatives with things that he can have too, or like he's kind of learning that himself. And I will have to ask him to find out now what his weight loss is at, because he's definitely lost more since then. The last I had heard was 30, but I know there's been more. But it is completely transformed. And he goes, I just don't look at food the same anymore. It's just, it holds like no allure for me. Like, there's nothing about it that's worth it to me to feel like I felt, or to gain that weight back. And so those are just, a couple of testimonies of myself, my husband, friend, my parents. My grandma did it and she felt so much better and lost weight. I mean, it's like, there's no reason not to. So if you are someone who has been, like struggling with this, because like I said, I struggled with it for years and years, and you don't have to. And I'm so not angry because I can't go back and change it, but I'm so bummed that I didn't know about this sooner and didn't take this action sooner, because I could have been feeling like this for all these years. So highly recommend, highly recommend the Whole30. They don't have any idea I'm talking about this. I'm not doing this for anyone's benefit but yours. Anyone who might be watching that has been struggling and wants to do something. I mean, it says the 30-day guide to total health and food freedom. And it is freedom from the like prison that food holds you in. Do not let food have this control over your life. It is so stupid. And like, it's just sucking life from you. It's horrible. If you're somebody who feels embarrassed about your weight or is uncomfortable all the time, you don't have to feel that way. I can't say it enough. I'm so passionate about it. And it's why now that I can see how that girl that my husband used to work with, the way she was so passionate about it, and it like made people irritated. But now I feel that way. Now I know her irritation, because she's like, no, like, you're the one who should be doing something different. Like, me telling you shouldn't be irritating. Like, you should be doing this because you can just feel so much better and be so much healthier. And I also used to get cystic acne, terrible, like all along my jawline all the time. I constantly had it. I never have it anymore. Like, I'm telling you guys, it completely transformed my life. So get yourself the Whole30 book. I'm not playing around. Do it. It tells you everything you need to know. There's tons of recipes. They do have other recipe books and stuff now. I don't have them. But you can find tons of things online and stuff too. And like I said, I will also link below the that Ideal Shape 12-week challenge workout. It's free. There's no excuse. It doesn't take that much time out of your day. And I promise you, you will feel better when you start doing it. Like, it gives you this, like, I started feeling, like, I'm not kidding. I seriously started doing, I had never done this in my life. It's only been negative self-talk that I had had up to that point. But I started being like, girl, you've got this. Like, I would seriously say that to myself. And I'd be like, you are awesome. You are killing it. Like, because I really felt that way. And I was. And I am. And I'm going to get back into the working out part of it again. Because, dang it, I'm killing this. Like, eating healthy and feeling better. And it has just changed my life. So I just want to encourage you to please, please try the Whole30. Try the Whole30. I guarantee you, if you follow it for 30 days, there is no way you will not notice a difference in how you feel. Especially when you start adding the foods back. And pay special attention to just what these foods that you think are healthy, and it's not, some of them, it's not necessarily that they're an unhealthy food. It's just your body does not react well to them. So it's an awesome way to figure out what might be triggering if you're somebody who has headaches or joint pain or feels bloated all the time. All sorts of things. I mean, there's people with all sorts of conditions, skin conditions and different things going on that have had them completely go away or at least lessen dramatically by doing the Whole30 and figuring out, what it is that's causing them these issues. So do it. Do the Ideal Shape 12-week challenge. Do it for a few weeks. See how you feel. And just, I promise you, I can't say enough about it. It is so worth it. This time is going to pass anyway. You might as well spend it doing something that is beneficial to you, that I guarantee will make you feel better about yourself. Simply part of it is feeling better just because you know you're actually doing something to change the situation. Because and that really is part of the battle of it, is getting yourself motivated and doing it. And once you start doing it, you start feeling like a serious rock star. At least I did. And I think that's how most people, their experience when they really get into a rhythm of realizing what the healthy choices are for themselves and their families. My kids, they still eat some junk, I'm not gonna lie. Our dinners are gluten and dairy free pretty much always, unless they are eating something that my husband and I are making something separate, or I am. But typically my family eats at least gluten and dairy free dinners. So, and they'll tell you their food is good. Nobody's lacking for anything. So, yeah, let me know. Have you tried Whole30? If you didn't have a good experience, I'd love to know, because I have never heard of anyone doing it who didn't find some benefit from it. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to contact me. I always have down below my email address and my Instagram handle, so you can contact me either of those ways. I will be thrilled to give you information and help you and be a accountability partner for you. And like I said, I want to get back into the working out aspect of it, so I definitely would love if somebody else wants to do it too, and we can be like, okay, day one done, you know what I mean? That does help when you have somebody that you're going along with. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions or anything, or any suggestions. If you've got recipes that you like that are gluten and dairy free or Whole30 compliant or whatever that you might want to share, I would love to hear it. Please leave comments below and let me know those things. And if you like this type of video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more things about health, maybe some of the different things that I eat, to give you an idea of alternatives for dairy type products or gluten products or whatever, please let me know that, because I would be more than happy to share that too. And yeah, hit your notification bell so you make sure that you see whenever I post anything. There will be, I will be telling you about my thyroid situation at some point too, and so I would love for you to be able to hear my story behind that, because I'm greatly hoping that will help some people too. But yeah, Whole30. If I could recommend one thing to people besides Jesus is number one. He fixes everything. But if I could recommend one other thing in life, I would recommend the Whole30, because it literally has changed my life. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening to me talk on and on as usual, but I feel very passionate about this, and it's just something that I really wanted to share, and I hope it will benefit, even if it's just one of you. I hope it will. Thank you guys so much. Bye.